to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, join us for a story about musician Rudy Love and an upcoming documentary. Then join us for a story about deer and how to stay safe on the road. Next, we'll have a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a look at the season of Halloween and Neewollah. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome to Kansas.
Well, here we are again, Wednesday, or you may be watching this online, so it could be Sunday. Anyway, this is Around Kansas. I'm Frank, and my co-host, Deb, is out there in western Kansas somewhere, searching for wildlife or something. Anyway, well, here we are halfway through the month of October already, and we finally got some rain. Some places got a little too much rain, but nevertheless, we got it. So that'll help the fall foliage a little bit when you go out to look at it. Anyway, this is Around Kansas, people, places, and things that make Kansas a great place to work, play, and come visit. If you've never been to Kansas, this might be a great fall to do it because there is still a lot of Oktoberfests that are going on, pumpkin patches, festivals of all kinds. So they're really fun to go to. I mean, if you really want to get into folk life and all of that, then this is a great time in this great state of Kansas. So anyway, come on and participate in some of the festivities going on, and of course, take a drive through the famous Flint Hills of Kansas, because, boy, let me tell you, it is just, I almost said in flames, but I don't want to say that. It's not. What I want to do is say that the colors are just absolutely brilliant. So anyway, October, Halloween coming up, and you know, Halloween now is one of the biggest holidays that we have. So I hope you're decorating for that, and there are probably already a lot of parties going on. So anyway, enjoy a safe and sane Halloween. So what do we have today? Well, Deb has some stories as usual. Let me come around here and get my notes. You know, senior moment. I have to have notes, or I kind of forget what's going on. Anyway, stories today. In her wildlife section, she's going to be talking about deer safety. This time of the year, the deer are on the highways, and you really need to look out for them. You know, in a car, they'll do serious damage. But if you're riding a motorcycle, be especially careful and look out, because I'm telling you that you just don't want to hit one. Now, the other thing, too, is pheasants. We're a little bit early for that, but I'm referring to motorcycle riding. A pheasant will tend to take off and fly beside you and before they kind of fly in front of you. Anyway, that's something we'll talk about, I'm sure, down the road. And also, she's going to have story on Halloween, and I'm sure it's some festival out in western Kansas where she is, and a story about Rudy Love. So anyway, some excellent stories as usual from Deb today. Now, of course, I'm Frank, and I'm here in Topeka, Kansas, and my co-host is out there in western Kansas, and that way we get kind of a flavor of the entire state. Where we do this from is from the WREN Internet Radio Studios. You can go to rendigitalmedia.com and listen to hits from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So do that. I'm on the air Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 1, the Frankie C. Midday Show. Anyway, there I got my plug in today. We have some fine sponsors on this program. And before Deb does her stories, why don't we take a look at who they are. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandering with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Kansas Music Hall of Fame 2011 inductee Rudy Love and the Love family are the subjects of a new film, This Is Love, which won the Spirit Award at the Rain Dance Film Festival in London. The festival shared this interview with Rudy and the film's director, John Alexander. Though born in Oklahoma, Rudy grew up in Wichita, and the Sunflower State is so proud to claim him. Kudos to John for telling Rudy's story. Kudos to Rudy and the whole Love family for sharing their talents with us over the years.
We're at Brian Morgan's house, somewhere in Woodland Hills. I've been knowing him a long time, and I love it. I think he's wonderful. He's quite a genius, and his hospitality, needless to say.
I am Brian Alexander Morgan. I am from Wichita, Kansas. Mary wants to be a superwoman, right? Wichita, not a hotbed for, labels.
Yes.
Coming to find you.
Excuse me, I know you people can't tell from his speech that he is the world famous producer, famous, more gold records. I don't want you to just know that while you carry on. I'm sorry.
Now, and you guys clearly don't know that what I'm leading up to is all of a sudden in my city, I was hearing this record on the radio. Does Your Mama Know?
Oh, yeah.
And it was this man and his amazing voice on Does Your Mama Know. He literally was the living example that you could do it. If Rudy didn't exist, I never would have thought it was possible to do what I ultimately ended up doing. Very well. I believe I know you very well. Yes. So cut to 93 when SWV is like triple platinum and all my records are on the radio, Week and Rain. Week, I'm So Into You, Right Here, Human Nature, and they're huge. Stevie calls me, and that's how you get that picture right there. That's at Stevie's place here in LA. But you were already in circles where you were meeting those kind of people, and like Sly Stone and people like that, my heroes. Rudy and the Love family. My God. Woo! This is Rudy Love in the Love story. And I'm part of it! Everybody in the world that I love I'm trying to get involved on this record, so certainly I'm gonna have you on here.
Okay, I'll sing a verse, or if somebody needs a ride from the airport.
You know what?
I'll go out there and get up.
Fort Wallace was the fightingest fort in the West. Fossils, Indians, soldiers, scouts, wagons, trails, pioneers, stories. Discover the story of Fort Wallace and the people who served here, the people who fought here, the people who settled here. Wallace County, where the past is present.
With nearly 100 years of broadcasting excellence, Ren Radio is now live on the internet playing hit songs of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Join Jack Diamond, Mac Collins, Les Glenn, Frankie C., Antonio Barber, Wings Callahan, and the real Don Steele for some of the best music ever recorded. Hear it at rendigitalmedia.com or get the Ren Oldies Radio app in Play Store or App Store and tell Alexa, good times and great oldies on Ren Internet Radio.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
I'm Scott Thellman, and this is Juniper Hill Farms. Even though my parents weren't farmers, they bought this beautiful farm north of Lawrence in 1999. In 2010, I started growing vegetables on this land. Today, Juniper Hill Farms sells produce to wholesalers, grocers, and restaurants, and is focused on growing high-quality food that everyone can afford. Watch my story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
Welcome to fall, y'all. We're actually here in Atchison County, real near the campsite of Lewis and Clark when they came through in 1804 and camped right here on Independence Creek and marked the first 4th of July in what would become Kansas. But I thought this nature walk was just the perfect place to point out one of the biggest dangers in nature, and that would be Bambi. You know, the most dangerous animal in Kansas, especially this time of year, deer, by far. So many accidents with deer. Of course, a lot of fatalities across the state this time of year while the deer are in rut. So we have some great tips from the Kansas Highway Patrol, and they will help you avoid those deer collisions. You know, watch out for the deer, get ready for deer season, but be careful, folks.
The signs of fall are all around us. Leaves are falling, corn and beans are coming out of the fields, and deer begin crossing the roads and highways in Kansas in increasing numbers. With this in mind, here are some things you can do now to start looking for deer. First, deer crossing signs, such as the one behind me, show where high levels of deer vehicle crashes have occurred, so be aware of these areas. Next, reduce your speed and be alert near wooded areas and green spaces where deer look for shelter. Also, be aware of water sources such as creeks and ponds. And last, always watch for more than one deer, as they seldom travel alone. If you need more information regarding car deer crashes, go to our website for tips and information. Be aware and watch for deer, because we want you to get where you're going safely. With the greatest number of car deer crashes happening in November, the Kansas Highway Patrol has a few tips to help you if you're involved in a car deer crash. First, always make sure you're wearing a seatbelt and have the kids buckled into approved child safety seats. An ounce of prevention can save a lifetime of regret. If a deer runs in front of you, don't swerve to avoid it. That often causes a more serious crash. It's hard, but just hit the deer and don't make a bad situation worse. If you do hit a deer, pull off the road and activate your emergency flashers. When talking to a dispatcher, let them know if the deer is still on the road and if you need medical help. It's also best to stay in your vehicle, but if you do need to get out, then stand as far off the road as possible and watch for oncoming traffic. And don't worry about the animal. The officer will arrange to have the deer safely removed from the road. If you want to learn more on avoiding deer, go to our website for tips and information. The signs of fall are here, and we want you to get to where you're going safely.
Welcome to Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in Oakley, Kansas on I-70 at exit 76. I-70, after all, is America's Main Street, and we're right here on Main Street for you. Now that I'm an Oakley resident, I still come in almost every day, and I sit and listen to the conversations of the people around me. You know, the guys who are talking about the big elk they just bagged, or the folks who are taking their kid to college for the first time. People just traveling up and down the highway. Real people, just like you and me. And they find just what I find here, real people to serve them. There's history, there's scenery. We hope you'll stop and see us soon. Welcome to Oakley. Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except for when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. And said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
We have all kinds of relationships in our daily lives. This poem I wrote is titled The Date. She looked forward to the date when her boy would come to call, but the time moved oh so slowly. The hours seemed to crawl. That day she had a thorough bath, as many females do. Her cleanser of choice was the mane and tail shampoo. Her hair was brushed repeatedly so as to be pleasing to the sight. Her shoes were checked carefully to make certain they were right. She got sprayed all over before she went out with her fella, but the smell of this perfume was kind of like citronella. She had her outfit on, and boy, it sure looked right. She had a healthy glow, and her stockings were pure white. The hour was finally here. The young man came that day with a flake of alfalfa as a sort of a bouquet. The boy was very happy. His heart was light as a feather. She also was happy, and the two went out together. The two of them went out for a pleasant summer ride on a pretty August evening through the Kansas countryside. And when the happy evening had come to an end, the young man said, I can't wait to go out again. It's an example of the social life out on the ranch, of course, and a night out together for the cowboy and his horse. Happy trip.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
Are your cows practical or profitable? If you want them to be both, come to the Dale Banks Angus Bull Sale Saturday, November 17th near Eureka, Kansas, selling 140 yearling and coming 2-year-olds who have spent their days on the rugged pastures of the Flint Hills. For 114 years, the Perriers have been focused on providing hard-working, balanced straight bulls for progressive cattlemen nationwide. Make plans to join us November 17th or pre-register to bid online. For more information and to view our catalog, visit www.dalebanks.com.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Halloween used to be a one-day event. Now it is a season. And wherever you are in Kansas, that season is in full swing. Whether it's Boo at the Zoo, a popular event in the capital city, or the pumpkin carving competition in McPherson, the zombie walk in Lawrence, the trunk or treat in nearly every town, or the haunted houses that transform normally quiet settings into halls of horrors and screams, there is no shortage of sights for frights. Ghost tours abound, and Atchison has become the Queen City of Kansas Ghost. Contact their visitor center for trolley tour schedules, but be advised, they sell out quickly. Lots of other towns are searching out their haunts and offering tours of the macabre as well, so check out your town's offerings. Likewise, lots of cemeteries take advantage of the season to lure the otherwise reluctant public to the graveyard for the stories buried there. It is no secret that I love cemeteries and find the art and history interesting any time of the year, but I realize some of you consider cemeteries a seasonal activity. While Dia de los Muertos is celebrated in many communities, it is not synonymous with Halloween, even though the sugar skulls and skeletal figures might seem spooky to some folks. It is rather a time to connect to loved ones long gone. If it is not already part of your tradition, it is a wonderful way to connect to another culture. Founded in 1914, the Hiawatha Halloween Frolic is considered to be the oldest continuous Halloween frolic in the USA, as featured on the Travel Channel. Perhaps the biggest celebration of them all, however, is the Neewollah celebration held in Independence. Neewollah, Halloween spelled backwards, and it began in 1919 as an effort to provide positive activities for kids of all ages, in place of the typical Halloween pranks. In the beginning, the event centered on parades, morning, afternoon, and night on October 31st. The parades consisted mainly of decorated cars and carriages. Queens and princesses from area festivals rode in the parades, along with our own Queen Neewollah, who was selected based on votes bought at a penny each. The Great Depression and World War II interrupted the Neewollah celebration, but in 1958, 4 businessmen revived and elaborated on the Neewollah theme, bringing it back as a 3-day celebration. Today, Neewollah is the largest annual celebration in Kansas. The city of Independence will grow from a town of just under 10,000 inhabitants to 75,000 in the final days of the now 10-day celebration. Today's celebration includes 3 parades, a doodah parade, adult kitty parade, a kiddies parade, and a grand parade. Chili cook-off, a hometown musical, and Queen's pageant also add to the festival activities. The main downtown is filled with 30-plus food vendors, a large carnival, and bandstand for nightly entertainment. The arts and crafts show, the band competition, and fun run provide activities for everyone. Great bandstand entertainment bring a conclusion to the diligent efforts of over 500 community volunteers. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you at the Great Pumpkin Watch Party.
Well, I'm Frank. Deb's out there, and we'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy Stream. We're the best part of Dorothy Stream.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.